Night. Welcome to our loft.
I'm Boston.
I'm Rennie.
This is Rebel.
And this is Rebel.
Hi.
We're trying to see what it's like to film a little bit later. I didn't do a very good job today of actually posting about going live today because it's been a crazy busy day. I am producing 2 commercials and our pickups for Alien Country all this month. So it's a little bit on the crazy side. So, yeah. Anyway, we've been running a really cool sale this week for Memorial Day. So I don't know if you guys are on our email list, but if you're interested in our Filmmakers Cookbook, let us know. Hit me up. We can maybe extend the sale if you message us or directly.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, it's basically the hardest part about I think any film project is hitting that critical mass to get to production. And so this cookbook was designed to basically get you to take your idea, turn it into a script, get that script, do all the prep you need, do all the producing you need to be able to show up on set with your friends or whomever on day one and get it going. So if you're in that stage where you want to make a short film especially, or a sketch or anything, this is the perfect intro for you to basically just get your movie going, but also to avoid some pitfalls, even if you're doing higher end production, because we talk about producing and contracts and all those things you need, as well as, as a director, what do you need to bring to set and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, we've designed this cookbook to help you get your film done step by step and to motivate you and kind of create a checklist. Because honestly, it can be really, really overwhelming to think about all the things at once. And so if you have that short film or that spec commercial or that wedding video or that music video that you have just been like dying to make but haven't known where to start, that's where this is geared for. So anyway, there we are. We are working. Perfect.
Yeah, so this is definitely, we're like an hour and a half later, and we wanted to start a little earlier. Frankly, I wanted to start around like 8 Mountain Time, but we ended up talking with an animal control officer for a solid hour and a half. We won't go into that, but it was actually, we were really happy. We just ran into them and talked to them about the laws and leash laws in Utah and stuff. But long story short, we want to talk about reputation.
Yeah.
I've been using the phrase long story short. That wasn't a great use of it. I've been using it all day long, not when I realized I'm rambling on the phone. Yeah. Yeah.
So today we want to talk about reputation as artists, as filmmakers, and how to maintain a good one.
Yeah. And so I'll just go ahead and kick it off and talk about the question that I posed just in the chat is, how important is reputation? And if you've been around business or anything, your reputation is everything. But I really want to talk about the type of reputation you can develop and what's important about that. Because there's different things you can be known for. And I think bottom line, you want to be known for someone that people enjoy working with. That's something that I think is, if I was to say the most important thing you want in your reputation is you want people to enjoy working with you, because film is so collaborative that you can be a really good filmmaker and people love your work. But if you're a jerk, then that's what you're known for. You can be someone who, works really, really hard, but if you're not patient with other people, then that's what you'll be known for. If you make other people work just as hard as you and you work yourself fingers to the bone, you'll get the reputation of that. But ultimately, that's what I think is the most important thing with your reputation, is that you want to be known as someone that people love working with.
Well, and I think it's really important there's a couple different ways to approach your reputation, right? So you can be amazing at what you do, whether you're a sound guy, whether you're a cinematographer, whether you're an actor, whether you're a director, whether you're a producer. And you can be amazing and your skill set can be incredible, but you can be really hard to work with, and that gets out. Okay. Mm-hmm. As a producer now, I literally was on the phone with somebody else today, and we were talking about a mutual person who we've both hired, and we were swapping stories. People talk, and people hear about what it's like to work with other people on set. And so you just want to make sure that every time you're on set, you not only put your best foot forward, but there's set protocol, there's etiquette. And I feel like sometimes the film industry is one of those places where you can sort of like, people can get away with being an asshole. And it's just not like, I just don't feel like that's really an excuse anymore. Like it's one of those hardened industries where people have been around the block for a while. And it's like, you want to make sure that you are not one of those people, even though it seems like you can be one of those people in this industry. Am I making sense?
Yeah. Well,
I
think there's a world where people have salty behavior, or they're dry or sarcastic, or no nonsense is a really good way. You could be a no nonsense person on set, and be curt when you need to be curt, be direct with people. And that can totally be fine. Your personality is your personality. But being a jerk, being an a-hole, that's not something that you should do, ultimately, because that will come back to haunt you. People want to find people that they can be in high pressure situations with, that they can absolutely like get through a battle with, Well,
let's be honest. If you're working really hard and it's the end of a 10-hour day and the end of a 12-hour day, you want to interface with people who are nice to work with. And we all lose our cool sometimes. We can all, it's very common to be like in a stressful situation. But when push comes to shove, there are reputations to be had. And especially on like smaller shoots where, you're in and out and you're quick and you're bouncing from gig to gig, you might be easily replaceable. That's just something to consider, right? And it's kind of funny. I was on a commercial last month, and we hired a crew member who's a little bit younger, and he said to me, he's like, I've worked for a couple of producers recently, like you, Rennie. They all have like the short blonde hair, and I was like, I'm like, who else do I know has short blonde hair as a producer, so I can know who he works for? But he was like, you're really fun, but you're also strict. I just thought I was like, all right, that's feedback. I'll take that. Like,
the fun.
I mean business. I want people to live up to what they need to be doing as on my set. But hopefully, I'm fun to work with. So,
and that's perfect. That's what leads to, I feel like what I would say is maybe number 2 on your reputation. So there's the reputation of being someone good to work with. All right. The next most important thing I would say is your quality of work, right? What Rennie just said there is like, you're really strict, but you're really fun. The bottom line is the quality of work. If you're dependable and you're consistent and you deliver a high level, I think people can get away with being scatterbrained or being a little bit hard to get a hold of if when you have their attention, they just blow it out of the water. It doesn't mean that as a producer, it drives you crazy. But when someone is incredibly talented, hardworking, but the quality of their work is always on point, if they can always deliver, then that's something that you will go back to them over and over and over again. And maybe idiosyncrasies or their quirky, behavior, or their, like in my case, ADHD, whatever it is, you might overlook some personal quirks, as long as they will always deliver quality. That is something that takes time, right? You need to learn how to deliver quality work. You need to get good at your skill set, at your craft, at the art of filmmaking, right? We talk about art, craft, and business a lot. And ultimately, you have to learn how to deliver a level of quality in whatever discipline of film you want to be. If you're a sound engineer, if you're a cinematographer, if you're a screenwriter, and then you have to be able to find the right partners to make that project. And only after you've made that project and it goes public and you're able to share it, then do you have the reputation of, this is a good sound person to work with. This is a good cinematographer to work with. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like Boston and I have a lot of experience volunteering people, trying people out on sets. We've put a lot of projects out there into the universe where we haven't had a lot of budget, right? Mm-hmm. But what I try to consistently do over the years is work with the people who volunteer with me and hire them for the paid gigs. And it doesn't always work out that way. We try to put a lot of goodwill and good faith out there, and make sure that when we work with people who give us their time, that we are treating them well, and B, I try to go back and hire them. Like, I literally just reached out to someone like 5 minutes ago for a commercial, and I was like, I need help on our commercial next week. And he happens to be someone who we've swapped favors with several times. And it's like, we go to the same people first. For the people who have done us favors, we go to them first for new opportunities, for paid opportunities. And so I think that's something that to keep in mind, as well as like, if you pay yourself forward, if you volunteer, you are more likely going to advance, right? And sometimes there is a fine line between like volunteering too much and being taken advantage of. That sometimes can happen too. And I think there are times where people figure out that they just need to draw a line in the sand. But this industry is very much about who you know and who you network with. And honestly, like, that's how we've been able to pull off our feature film Alien Country. Now, we've had a budget for Alien Country and we've been able to pay people, but not everyone got paid their full rate, you know, and people worked really hard. Granted, we thankfully didn't have to do overtime. We weren't pulling crazy like 18-hour days back to back to back to back. We really worked hard to treat our crew fair. And honestly, we're doing pickups at the end of this month, and most people are coming back. If they're available, they're coming back to work with us, even though we haven't been able to pay the highest rate, you know, which is just really, really exciting. So I think that's what we want to say about reputation. Something that I really pride myself on as an actor is being prepared, showing up on time, knowing my lines, hitting my mark. I have had editors tell me more than once that I'm pretty darn good with continuity and like my actions. If anybody doesn't know what continuity it is, it's like, if you pick up a glass on this line, make sure you pick up a glass on that line every time you say that line, you know? And you know, just expressing that they appreciate professionalism, because sometimes with actors and with new filmmakers, we're all learning, right? And so I just think it's really important to, even when you're starting out, try to run your hobbies, run your YouTube channels, run your videos, run your spec commercials with contracts professionally. Like, do your best to make that happen. So
yeah, and one thing that I would say ultimately is, and this comes up to point number 3. What do you do when there's bad things said about you? Which is an interesting thing to sort of talk about. But how do you avoid when someone had a bad working experience with you, or if you're in that situation where you've had a bad working experience with someone else? How do you overcome people saying, "Oh, this person was kind of a nightmare in this instance or other"? And this is something that I think is really interesting, because again, depending on how any community, no matter how big or small, whether you're in a huge city, whether it be, you know, London, New York, LA, whatever, you know, the filmmaking community is still pretty well connected to each other, right? So you're going to find the same people, and they're going to talk, and people want to know about you before they work with you. What's it like to work with this person? You know? Yeah,
it's crazy. I produced with a woman that I met at Sundance, and we had mutual friends. Like I'd met her for the first time, you know, and like some random connection that I knew in San Francisco that she had met in LA, like we knew the same people. It was incredible. And so I just think that know that this industry is small, especially within a state. You know, if you're obviously like LA and New York is a lot bigger, but the industry is actually pretty darn small in and of itself.
Yeah.
And we're not perfect. We've had to learn and grow along the way. And there've been times where we did have a hard time with people collaborating and with our crew. And we like straight up had to apologize and like have heart to hearts and move on. And sometimes we were able to repair friendships, and sometimes you weren't. But it's sort of like the learning curve and us trying to do our best and, you know, shoot a video in 19-degree weather after getting off a red-eye flight. Sometimes you're not always like in the best mood. Right?
I think that the main reality is you've got to own what you've done, and if it's for better or for worse, and be really honest about it. And the only way to overcome is to keep giving. Really keep giving your best and doing your best. And when somebody says, "Oh, this person did this one thing one time," you know, when I first started working, I had a couple people say to, like really early on, this was like straight out of college, a couple people say to me, oh, well, I love Boston, but he doesn't always follow through on like a delivery date or something like that, right? It was like something along those lines. And it was because I had worked one time with a friend who asked me to do something for free, and I took extra time and I didn't deliver it. And like, I finally delivered like a month late, and I was like, sorry. But it's like, the reality is like a year later, people were saying, oh yeah, this guy was still saying this thing about you. And I'm like, well, I have to correct for that. So I had to spend years delivering, and learning to communicate about delivering, because
managing expectations.
You're not the only one who's going to be, especially in like commercial, industries, whether you're in corporate video, you're not the only one who's responsible for a deadline, right? It's not just the one filmmaker. Even if you're a one-man band, there's other decision makers who are going to have to weigh in on the edit or weigh in on the script or whatever it needs to be. And so learning to manage those times is a skill set that I developed, and I'm still working to make sure, no matter if it's a feature film or a commercial, I say, okay, we're going to have check-ins. Like I literally I was repeating a conversation I had today, but I said, okay, bi-weekly check-ins. That means twice a week. We're going to set that up. We're going to say it's going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we'll give you something to look at. It won't always be a meeting. And that's something that I've had to develop. And I want to make sure that my reputation is when you have a deadline, I deliver before that deadline. End of story. And that client I was talking about with bi-weekly check-ins, I've been working with them for 4 years, and they come back to me twice a year for a video. And it's just because deliver. And if I hadn't learned that lesson early on, right out of college, starting my film career, that people will talk about, whether or not you deliver on time, I might not have been so proactive in developing that skill. So the best way to overcome when someone's talking negatively about you is to learn it, try to talk to that person, say, oh, okay, well, let's do what they call a postmortem, right? Like at the end of your project, you say what went well, what didn't. And if things didn't go well and you can learn about them, that's how you can course correct.
Yeah. I feel like deadlines for us is something that motivates us.
Kind of turned it into a strength a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. We've done a lot of our script reads. We will self-imposed script reads, table reads. We'll finish deadlines for ourselves, for our own projects, by creating accountability with other people. Something I've also learned is sometimes even with corporations, like we've worked with several video game companies that would push their deadlines back or whatever. And so it's kind of interesting because deadlines can also be arbitrary. It's like we create these deadlines that seem to have so much weight and impact. And sometimes there have been times where we've had to prioritize the creativity of the project in order to deliver a better product, right? So anyway, I feel like that's our spiel for tonight. Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, but I also wanted to say that there's a difference between being honest and upfront with someone and being gossipy as well.
Yeah.
And so this is maybe part 4, if we have like little beats, but part 4 is people like talking. We like talking about what went well and what didn't go well. I try to always avoid just talking gossip about people. If I didn't have a good experience with someone, I will cite a specific example but also I want to say, oh yeah, this person, we asked for this thing on set, they didn't deliver in that instance, but I love that person to death, if that's true. Always look for a positive if I'm going to say, but if somebody's asking my opinion when they're hiring, I'll say, yeah, no, they did great here. I had this problem. Your choice. And if it's someone that I had a genuinely bad experience, I don't want to tell them the details of why I had a bad experience and say, I had a bad experience with that person. I probably wouldn't work with them again, but they might be great for you. You make a call. And unless there's like something absolutely you don't think this person should be hired for some reason or other, you make that call ethically, morally for yourself. But I think generally, I don't want to badmouth people because I don't want to be also known as a person who does that. So it's part of the reputation, is to not gossip about your film community, because ultimately, that will come back to you as well. So
ultimately, we're all doing the best that we can.
Yeah.
Something that I hold dear to my heart is we were talking with our Alien Country crew. We were in the middle of the desert. We were actually in a hotel, and I was like, guys, be straight with me. Like, what's it been like to work with us? Like, has it been hard? Has there been anything that's been really like bugging you? And they were pretty honest. Our crew was like, it's not the best pay ever, but we feel like you guys care, and we're having so much fun. Like when you're kind of camped out in the middle of nowhere, and all there is to do is like go to the lake or go on a hike or on your day off or whatever, and you're bonding as a crew. Like those are memories that last forever. And we really did try to just like make sure that everyone was taken care of, and if they asked for things, we tried to give it to them, even if it was like really stressful and hard.
Just treat people well, and be aware that they're going to have different levels of comfort. And some people are going to be used to different levels of pay. They're going to be used to different conditions, and you just you need to try to do your best to treat people well and communicate with them. So that's it. I mean, there's not a whole lot else unless you guys have questions. Of course, yeah, we'd love to hear your questions at posting comments here on Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube, and
We'll ramble for a little bit. We're heading into pickups for Alien Country. We've got some derby car scenes to pick up. We've got our flashback scenes to pick up. We're going to be filming with a character that we haven't even filmed with at all yet. Our dad character, Jimmy's the main hero character's dad. And then we're going to be filming with the young version of Jimmy, so that's really exciting. And we're going to try to accomplish some serious movie magic with, interior derby and cars and green screens, or maybe a little virtual production and shooting in studios. Delicious luck.
I've just been so dark the whole time, and I realized, it's because the lights.
I mean, they all want to help me anyway, so I'm just kidding.
The last 2 minutes, I feel not like I'm sitting.
We're going to be filming in a national park for a little bit. We filmed, as many of you know, in the desert down there with the Red Rock, and we had to cheat some of those shots. Luckily, there's a little canyon close by.
National forest.
Did I say national
park? Yes, it's a national park.
Yeah, national forest. Which we're getting for as we speak. But there's really cool mini red canyon, just 45 minutes away from us. But we're gonna get up that, and we might even do some days a little.
It's a national forest, and they came in as orchestra on the predictive speech.
I think we're the only people watching ourselves.
No, there's people on Twitch. Barking Bark. Yeah. Barking Bark, shout out. You get a shout out. Awesome. We appreciate you. We changed the time on everybody. It's super late, so yeah, this is not our usual crowd.
I neglected to send an email about it and post about it. So,
but if you're watching this on the replay, hit us up with questions, and we will respond. The best place is our Facebook group for questions. Post a new comment in there if you have something very specific. But we'd also love to see what you're working on. We have Alien Country. We showed what is our private trailer. We're using
yesterday. It was so fun.
And for Memorial Day, we were at a barbecue because it's almost back to normal, and everyone was there, was vaccinated. It was great. Rennie and I got our vaccinations. If you're considering it, just do it. I'm not saying you have to, but I think you should. I think it's a good thing.
Oh, the audio is bad today. Sorry. The audio is bad. Now we're sad.
It should be fine. Is it just quiet? Maybe it's just quiet.
We apologize.
Well, it looks like, I don't know. All right, well, hopefully it's better now. Yeah, well, it looked like the levels were okay. Sorry about that, guys. Well, anyway, long story short.
We're doing our best.
Yeah, we kind of rushed the setup on the audio there. But
there was an echo, but it's all good. We apologize.
What are we talking about?
Alien Country pickups, shooting. We want to see your work.
Yeah.
Hit us up with your projects. We want to know what you're doing.
But
if you have an amazing script, send it to us. We're looking for scripts.
Yeah. Okay, better. Good. All right. Well, that's good to know. Well, now we actually have a bunch of people on commenting. So good to hear from you. Open Rift Games and sorry for the robot sound. and I think it's
all good. I have to get going.
It's a Dr. Scenario, Dr. Saniro 10. Anyway, thank you for letting us know about the sound. Yeah, but Alien Country's coming along. In fact, we showed the trailer. All right, that's where it was.
Oh, show the trailer.
So for Memorial Day, we had a barbecue. We showed our trailer, got incredible reaction, and it made me. My buddy, who actually does he does music for films and commercials and trailers, but basically mostly commercials and trailers. He was like, this trailer is really good, and you should just send me this trailer. And we had used a copyrighted song in the trailer, but he's like, I'll score you the thing. And after hearing that,
literally offered on the spot.
I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll make this trailer public sooner than I was thinking. So anyway, the trailer for Alien Country will be coming, but we'll do a whole countdown to it. And we're going to wait till after our pickups to release that trailer, because ultimately there's going to be footage from the pickups we'll want to put in as well. So yeah, it's going to be really good. But we'll keep you updated as we go through and finish out our feature film, Alien Country. And again, if you watch our YouTube channel and you like our comedy and our action,
Alien Country.
This is the coolest thing. Yeah, you're gonna love it. It's the best work we've done, like hands down. It's everything we took on YouTube and learned from our YouTube days, put into big, independent film. I wanted to say Hollywood level, but Hollywood level can mean millions of dollars. But into indie level, really good cinema. So it feels like a movie. And I spent the day editing it and taking phone calls and planning the shoots, but spent some day editing, and I'm really, really happy with what we stole. That magic we somehow bottled, that lightning we somehow bottled. Yeah. So
awesome. As you're moving forward in your own projects, just remember that film community is small. Treat people well. Be professional, even on your smaller shoots, and have fun.
All right. Well, guys, thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.